And lo and behold, the great clear out begins. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And after incomings and lots more talks of lots of incomings, all of us have been a little bit worried about, okay, but we actually need to get rid of some of these other players on our books, right? But it looks like things are finally starting to happen. Today we're going to talk about Marc Guiu going to Sunderland, Armando Broja being in the sights of Burnley, and a couple of other players that we're still quite keen to get rid of, as well as a few other little things about incoming players we might still see. But before we get into that, for a few seconds, I just want to go into some personal YouTube drama that I experienced this morning. I woke up and my account had been removed. My YouTube channel was gone. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I looked in my email and lo and behold, there is an email there from YouTube telling me that my account had been removed for breaching certain community guidelines. Now, I looked through all of these guidelines really carefully and could not for the life of me figure out where I'd gone wrong. So I appealed it, and thankfully the YouTube gods got back to me very quickly and reinstated my channel. Whew. So guys, show me some appreciation. I'm fighting the hard fight and I'm still here. If you're enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honor of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. And just a really quick thank you to the YouTube team for getting back to me so quickly and reinstating my channel. Nice one. All right, but let's get into it. And the first piece of news is about Marc Guiu and his loan to Sunderland. Sunderland are going in this season, man. They are spending money, they are getting players, they are really looking like they are going to do their best to try and stay up. I mean, of course you say that about every promoted club, right? But out of the 3 promoted clubs, Sunderland seem to be making the biggest push. And Marc Guiu to Sunderland makes sense for them. And you know what? I really like the kid, but it makes sense for us as well. Marc Guiu is kind of at that point now where he featured enough last season for us to see, yeah, okay, there's something there. But maybe he's not quite there in terms of where we're going to now in terms of competing for the Champions League and trying to keep a foothold in all 4 competitions that we'll be in. We got Marc Guiu for an absolute steal for $5 million from Barcelona. He was the joint 3rd top goal scorer in the Conference League last season. And a loan to Sunderland at a potentially relegation battling team will be difficult, but will be hardy and character building. And ultimately, I back him to get into that team, man. If dogged, an aggressive player, he runs, he presses, and he's got an eye for a goal. So I think it will be really good for him to fight for that spot. There was some talk about Red Bull Leipzig being interested in him, and I think that would have been really good for his development as well. And a relegation battle at Sunderland is probably a bit less sexy, but ultimately, I think it'll be good for him. One of a few different things can happen with this, right? He'll either play really well there and put himself into the thoughts of, can we fit him in the Chelsea team next season? Or he'll play really well there, but not necessarily to the level of the guys we've got, and we will just look at making a really good profit on him, or he will flatter to deceive, and then we'll just have to figure out what to do next season. Either way, I think the future of Marc Guiu is bright, and I wish him the best of luck on this venture. Right, so staying on strikers, and the first big indication that the clear out is starting is about Armando Broja. So Broja's been with us for ages now. He was an academy lad, and he had kind of a breakthrough season, right? Not really breakthrough. He wasn't playing for us all the time, but he was really highly rated from the academy and he came in and got a few good goals. But like a lot of players, unfortunately, his development was curtailed by injury. He's had a few loans recently at the likes of Fulham and Everton, and he's given it a good go, but he's not managed to find that consistency that he's been looking for. But maybe that's all about to change. So Burnley are talking about taking Armando Broja off our hands, and for 20 to 25 mil, which is completely what I expected. I remember there was a point a while ago that we were talking about wanting like 40 million for him, and that was just like, oh no, man, it just didn't really seem to make any sense. But this seemed a lot more feasible. It's a reasonable price. It's all book profit because he's an academy player, and I think a team like Burnley might work really well for him. Broja's not exactly the most mobile, versatile striker in the world, but I think for Scott Parker's Burnley, he's exactly the kind of striker that they could do with. He does have Premier League experience. He does know where the back of the net is, and he might flourish in a system like Scott Parker's Burnley more so than the Chelsea one, where he might be expected to perform a lot of other roles. I really like Armando Broja. If you've ever seen him in an interview, he's a really chill guy. He was really popular around the training grounds, and it is a shame that it ultimately didn't work out for him, but 100%, just like Marc Guiu, I wish him the absolute best. And my best friend is a Burnley fan, so as ever, I love it when Burnley get into the Premier League, and I'll be watching the club's and Armando Broja's development with great interest. So alongside the news of Armando Broja's among the news of Armando Broja's impending departure, there's also been more slight indications from Fabrizio Romano that other players we are looking to sell soon include the likes of Raheem Sterling and Christopher Nkunku. And both of those just make sense, don't they? Sterling, I think so. The noise that I've seen around Sterling is apparently he's interested in going to Fulham and supposedly might be willing to take a pay cut in order to do so. So what that says to you is he's obviously really keen to stay in London, and even he understands that if he doesn't want to sit on the bench, or not even on the bench, if he doesn't just want to be banished from the Chelsea team next season, then he's going to have to lower his wage if he wants to keep on playing football and he wants to stay in London. It's a shame that Sterling never worked out, because in his pomp at Man City, what a phenomenal player he was. I absolutely loved watching him. And you know, there was a time where we could easily talk about Sterling being one of the best players in the Premier League. He was really important for England for a while as well. But he's been playing since he was like 17 years old, do you know what I mean? So he's already had a really, really long career at the top level. And if he can go to Fulham and have the same kind of impact that Willian did, then all power to him. I think that would be great. Let's just hope that we can agree something with Fulham and Sterling himself that makes this work for all parties involved. So Christopher Nkunku, right? It seems like Bayern Munich are the main team that are interested in him. Now, this does make sense, although they have also just purchased Luis Diaz of Liverpool. So I don't imagine they'd be looking to buy him in as a centre forward, as Harry Kane is still there. And I know he's kind of maybe getting towards the end of his prime, but at the same time, he plays a really different role to someone like Christopher Nkunku. Christopher Nkunku might be an option for their centre attacking midfield, but they are really stacked with really, really good players. But supposedly Bayern are interested in him, and I haven't seen a huge amount of news about other teams. There was a little bit of noise about Red Bull Leipzig being interested in bringing him back, but I think we were maybe trying to use him as part of the proposed Xavi Simons deal, which I'll get onto in a minute, and they weren't interested in factoring him in as that part of that deal, because at the end of the day, we want 50 million for him, so that kind of eats up most of the profit they'd make for Xavi Simons. And again, it's a shame with Christopher Nkunku. When we got him, I was really excited. He had come off an amazing season at Red Bull Leipzig, playing as a shadow striker. The man knows where the back of the goal is, and I love the balloon celebration. It is just iconic, but it just hasn't worked out. He just doesn't positionally fit anywhere that we're trying to play him. Do you know what I mean? He's not a centre attacking midfielder, he's not a striker, and he's not a left winger. He is kind of a hybrid of all of those three that really flourishes in that left half pocket behind the striker. And weirdly, he seems like a really versatile player, but we've just never been able to get the best out of him or fit him in. He scored loads of goals in the Conference League, but he wanted to be starting in the Prem, and he couldn't get in over Nicholas Jackson, who ostensibly was the main competition for him. And he also spent some time out on the left wing, but towards the end of the season, that wasn't really an option either. That became less of an option as we started deferring to the likes of Pedro Neto and Madueke on that flank. So he's never lived up to the potential that we saw in that pre-season under Pochettino just before he got injured. But again, I bear him no ill will. Do you know what I mean? He's been a consummate professional. He's, scored some really important goals for us. I just think he needs to go to a team that wants to play him in the position that he flourishes in, because he's not one of those guys that is like, you can put me anywhere and I'll be exactly the same. What you can rely on for Christopher Nkunku is to score a goal. In the Benfica game in the Club World Cup, he did exactly that. He didn't necessarily contribute to the kind of build-up and team play that we were looking for, but he scored a clutch goal in a really important moment and helped us turn the game on its head. So whoever gets Christopher Nkunku, what you're buying is goals. The only other part about it is, from a Chelsea perspective, you can't really say, okay, we know you might score a goal, but you're not going to contribute to this thing, or this thing tactically that we're looking for. So like I say, man, I just hope he gets himself in a team that plays him in the position that works for him, and I hope that team isn't Man United. So I'll bring it back to the Xavi Simons news, right? So there are developments about the Xavi Simons news. Fabrizio Romano has informed us that he is actually asked to leave the Leipzig tour, so he's obviously trying to push this move to Chelsea through. No other clubs are talking about him at the moment, so if someone else gets him, that would be some serious sort of hijack. And I don't really buy into this stuff in general, but, I guess it's worth talking about. Xavi Simons has removed Red Bull Leipzig from his Instagram bio. There's always stuff about social media, isn't there? Like, this player's liked this player's post, and this means he's joining that club, and, it very rarely pans out that way. But combined with the rest of the news that's going on, I guess that might mean that this is slightly more indicative that Xavi Simons is looking to push this move to Chelsea through, and hopefully it happens soon. And alongside that, I'll finish up on the news that, yes, we are interested in Garnacho. Simons and Garnacho seems to be the two players that we're interested in to complete our attack. The Morgan Rogers news has just completely gone off the boil. I imagine that was just too expensive. And for me, it was always Simons or Morgan Rogers, right? There was almost no space in the team to fit both of them in. Garnacho is much more of a byline left winger who will likely compete a lot more with Jamie Gittins for that role, rather than everyone trying to get in that attacking midfield spot. I actually released a video yesterday pertaining to Garnacho and what I think about how he might fit in the Chelsea team, and also how he compares statistically to Jamie Gittins last season at Dortmund and Jadon Sancho last season at Chelsea. It was the first episode in my new series, Who's the Better Baller? So if you're interested in a short tactical deep dive about those three players, what they contributed, and who came out on top as the better baller, go and check it out. So nice one, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm just doing a short, quick little video today. I'm not going to lie to you, after the whole debacle with losing my channel this morning, my heart is a little bit like, And I think I need to go and lie down in a dark room for a little while. But nice one, guys. I'm back and you're all still here, which I really, really appreciate. I'm loving the growth on this channel so far. And I'm also delighted to announce that tomorrow night I will be featuring in a live stream panel hosted by the Blue Lounge, who is a massive Chelsea YouTuber, and also accompanied by 2 other Chelsea YouTubers, Blue Clouds Media and Worldwide Chelsea. It's starting at 10 PM tomorrow night, so make sure to check it out, and I'm going to be having some fun Chelsea chat with some awesome Chelsea YouTubers. Nice one, guys. I hope you're all having an absolutely wicked day, and I can't wait to catch up with you very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.